of their work. And the topic for this episode, which is the fourth episode, is how to build a viable Web3 startup. And with this discussion with our panelists, we hope to empower founders to build an innovative and sustainable startup. And also, we will be talking about the next generation of internet, which decentralized technologies like smart contracts and blockchain play a key role. So, worth mentioning, Box Play Ventures, the curator of this event, is an Accra-based startup and SME consultant and venture builder. They are passionate about supporting entrepreneurs and also building the entrepreneur and venture building ecosystem in Ghana and the continent as a whole. I also want to mention that this event is in partnership with Ed Accra, and we are honored to have the founder as one of the speakers of this event. And my name is Yara Kilfori, and I'm really honored to be the moderator for this episode. So before we dive into the discussion, I'd like our speakers to introduce themselves, starting with Abina Asante.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Yara. My name is Abina. I'm the founder of Ethacrat. It's a hackathon that Ethereum focused hackathon here in Ghana. It's the second edition that we're doing. It started last year out as a curiosity initiative from myself and my team members, and it was a huge success, which is why we're doing the second edition and the focus of at University of Legon. Beside this, by profession, I'm an academic researcher, and if I'm not really deep down into Ethereum, I'm very passionate about football and I love food.
Nice, nice, nice. Thank you so much, Abina. And we look forward to your insights for this episode. So would love to hear from Bakusi.
Okay, hi. I hope you can hear me clearly.
Not so clearly, not loud enough.
Yeah, okay. So my name is Bakusi.
Great.
I'm the head of R&D at blockchain R&D at Ijara, and yeah, I'm here to share what I know.
Thank you so much, Van. And so our final speaker, Mary. Hello, Mary. Is Mary in? Okay. Then we'll just, hopefully she joins us soon. So we'll quickly dive into the discussion because I believe that this discussion is aimed at talking about how we are going to, or how startups can build a viable Web3 startup and aim to empower founders to focus on how to build a sustainable and innovative startup. So my first question will go to Abina Asante. And my question is, as the founder of Ithakra, how do you envision the future of Web3 adoption within the developer community in Ghana? Please, did you hear me? You are muted.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I heard you. Thank you for the wonderful question. I personally think how the future is going to be is definitely starts with good education. People need to know more about than just like blockchain or like Web3 being a scammy industry, because especially from the developer side, the myth is still there that it's very scammy, it's buggy, it's not really stable. And I think first we need to have a proper education of what it actually is, how can people use it, and then it's like, and I think the second pillar would be some sort of academy. It's like the resources are there. People need to put in the work to learn to acquire the skills by themselves. This is something that we cannot ensure, but I think people should know where and what kind of resources is there, and like regular checkup, because you learn best when you have mentorship, like or maybe you can do internship, or where you can like attend a hackathon where you're actually able to showcase your skill set. And once you have a positive experience, this is a good foundation to keep going and keep keep developing your skill set. But it starts with education, opportunity, and then also like getting rewarded.
Great, great. You mentioned something about the need for people to educate themselves as the foundation for developing the community and all. What are some of the resources out there? You've mentioned internship, you've mentioned resources that people need to get access to. What are some of the resources and internship out there?
I think the best resource, like, it's on Ethereum.org. It's Ethereum is a blockchain, the most leading blockchain currently. They've had tons of resources online, free, accessible. Another resources I can definitely mention is Bitokito. They also provide a good amount of resources from Nader, Patrick, J. Collins. Really amazing people out there creating valuable content with video edit, like video content, step by step tutorial. It's like it's when I started my journey in the Ethereum, like 2021,
Okay.
the resource landscape was really scarce, and it was like more trial and error finding. But now you have a clear resources, and it's out there. It's like
Yeah.
we are in the information age, so resources is free and accessible. It's up to you to acquire the skill and then apply it.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Nobody has an excuse because the resources are out there. So I would
Yes.
like to talk to Bankusi. And my question for you, Ban, is what specific challenges and opportunities does Ijara encounter in developing a Web3 startup focused on financial services for its target audience?
All right. So I'll first start by saying that Ijara is the leading on-ramp crypto investment platform
Okay.
in the Francophone Africa.
Okay.
And yeah, it's that I've been at Ijara for the past 4 years, working as the head of R&D in blockchain. I mean, for Web3, one of the first issues you're going to face is with its regulation, right? Um, you are going to face the initial issue with regulators, where you have to, strategically meander your way through building on Web3 and also satisfying regulators. And so that was one thing I'll point out as the first main issue that Ijara faced. The second one
Sorry,
has to
Ban.
do
Sorry
with,
to cut you, Ban. Can you speak a bit louder? Your voice is muffled.
okay, is it okay now?
Okay. Yes. Let's continue.
How is it now?
It's better, but it could be a bit louder.
Oh, okay. Sure. So so let me continue with what I was saying. So yes, I mean,
Sure.
my initial point was with regulation, that that's the first issue that any Web3 startup is going to face, right? Because we don't have proper regulation with regards to Web3 in Africa. There are countries that have at least tried to bring out some regulation. And one good news was that Nigeria has their Web3 regulation, but it's still at the beginning, the early stages. So that's the first issue. The other issue was with education. So like we are building our product on the blockchain, and most of our customers don't fully understand the blockchain yet. So while pushing your product, you also have to push the education as well. So that means you have to do two things at the same time. Yeah, that's one of the issues that we've also faced with that as a startup in Web3. That's one of the issues you're also going to face. And so I think that what startups in Web3 have to do is to also invest a little bit in education as well. I believe that in educating your users, I believe that that will help speed up the adoption of your product. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you to thank you to Ba, and I'm glad that you've spoken about what startup founders need to do um, regarding educating their customers. Very important. So I'll come back to Abina. And my question for you will, in your experience leading it Accra, what strategies have proven effective in bridging the knowledge gap and empowering individuals to engage with blockchain and decentralized technologies?
I think it first starts with me being authentic person, because I think people believe by the story when there's authenticity behind it. So what everything I share, I do, I can relate to me. So people have like a living example. And the other thing is like I think what most important is decentralization comes with accountability. And what do I
Mm-hmm.
mean by that is like accountability in setting up your, like you are responsible to manage your funds transactions. Like it's something that people need to understand, that the technology is out there, but how you use it, what kind of impact it has, it depends on what the intention you have. So it means that decentralization comes with accountability. This is something that we need to learn, because I think we are systemically not being raised as society. I think this only does not only apply to Ghana, but I think it's universal. Like where I live in Switzerland, it's like it's we are not really trained to take ownership um of various aspects in our life. For example, if I lose my debit card, I can go to a bank, I get replaced immediately. So I can be flaky or whatever. It's like there's always something that can like it's like back up, or like if something does not work, you always have a place to go where you get like replacement, or like get help. But in the decentralized, especially in Ethereum, if you are reckless with your password, etc., and someone has access to you, the money is gone. I think this is something that is completely new, and we need to become aware of this. But and I think once you have this, become this awareness, I think then you see the possibility that it's open up, and it's very beautiful, and it's like it's not like always scary, or it's not that scary that you think that you're limiting yourself in being exposed to it. Does it answer your question?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you now, but before you were
Yes.
mute.
Yeah, sorry. So yes, please, it does. It does answer my question. I'll come back to you with another question, but let me quickly ask Ba this question. He has spoken about, Ban, you've spoken about the need for founders to invest in educating their customers, as that's one key challenge being faced. But then you've spoken about Injera too as well. So I want to ask, in what ways does Injera prioritize like security and innovation in its approach in building this sustainable like Web3 financial institution, which is tailored to like the francophone Africans and the diaspora as a whole?
Yeah, so Ijara takes security very serious. One thing
Okay.
we do is we have an internal security team that
Okay.
always looking at the code, our code base, and always making sure that it's secure even before we go into production, and as well as collaborating with regulatory bodies to also audit our code base and prove that they are secure. So we are actually working with regulatory bodies to also like external, aside our internal security processes, we also have external one. That's for the coding and technical part. For the non-technical part, we have internal security programs that we run for the employees. So employee, we are constantly educating employees on best security practices, etc., in the blockchain space and so on and so forth. Then aside the employees, now we come to the customers, our users, and we often run security campaigns. So sometimes because one of the things with blockchain is we need to, for example, some of the security campaigns we run is like your private key is yours, right? Like don't share your private key with anyone, even if the person is coming from, say that they are coming from Ijara, don't share your private key with them. This simple thing, you might think that is simple, but someone can actually be tricked into sharing their private key and all of
Mm-hmm.
that. That's one of the things we do as well, in Ijara. So aside internal technical security, we also have
Used to.
internal security classes for our employees, and also campaigns, marketing campaigns on security for our users.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much, Ma. I want to also ask, do you think security and innovation is generally like a challenge, like in the African ecosystem when it comes to the Web3, building like a Web3 startup?
Oh, actually, so in Web3 in general, security is a challenge, right? Because not just in Africa, but in the whole Web3 ecosystem, so security is a challenge because everything is open source, and the smart contract is open source, and also the code running on the blockchain is visible for everyone. So you constantly
Yeah.
have people trying to hack the systems and so on and so forth. And at the beginning, there were not really strong tools in terms of blockchain security. But now things are changing. We have like auditing platforms where you can then take your smart contract to, and you have people looking at it trying to find bugs. And when they find the bugs or security issues, you pay them. So they find it before the bad people can also find it. And that's one thing. With regards to the challenges, security is expensive also as well. So a startup that is not like that does not have access to the necessary funding might not be able to invest a lot of their money into security, and so they will not have really like full like strong security like a startup with a lot of money. Although again with the auditing platforms, you can put your code there and get like maybe $1,000 and put $1,000 on top of it for people to find. But of course, the thing is that with $1,000 you have less experienced people looking at your code trying to audit it, like compared to if you have like 1 million or something like that, right? So that's it. When it comes to security, the challenge is more about the money. If you don't have enough money, you can't have right security. um, but aside that, what I would say with Web3 startups is that, again, Web3 space is open source, very open, and even in Web2. So there are a lot of open standards and security practices that you can follow when you're working on your project. So, like we have um, things like Open Zeppelin, we have Cypher, all of these they provide a lot of resources on latest security updates, right? Like because these people are like very big people when it comes to auditing stuff in there. So when anytime they find like a kind of issue in smart contracts, they try to bring it out. So I think that the developers and then business like owners or founders should ensure that at least their team is following some of these standards, even if they don't have enough money to fund security, at least try to follow the existing standards. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ba. So, founders, it's very important that you follow the existing standard. And I'm glad that you've spoken about the solutions. Like, even if there's no money, what startups can do to ensure that in the midst of the general security challenge, they're still having a level of security as a Web3 startup. So, thank you so much, Ba, for that. I'll come back to Abina. And then my question for Abina is, how do you see the role of grassroots initiatives like If Accra in shaping the future of decentralized innovation on a global scale?
I think the grassroots movements are very important because there's
Okay.
it sets the start for any ecosystem in order to grow. I mean, it's not about waiting for the perfect condition. It's more about starting and then it evolves its natural, like organically, natural courses. But if you never start, then it's like, I mean, if you don't start now, then like publishing a paper. If you don't publish one paper, you can never reach your 10th paper to publish. So it's more about starting progress than being waiting for the perfect condition, perfect solution. So I think grassroots movement are very, very much important. It has multiple impacts. For example, it can inspire other people to follow, because not everybody, some people are interested but maybe they don't have the tools or strength or resources or the courage to start, and which is, but they like to follow and they like to shape and they like to make the pie bigger. So I think yes, and for other people it also maybe increases a sets up like um brings a little bit more competition to the market, because I believe in healthy competition, that you get leverage each other up. It's about silo one standalone. It's about, that's what I say. It's a beauty of being decentralized. It's like Ethereum has this slogan like infinite garden. Ethereum is used globally, but how it's used, how the ecosystem grows, it always differs, and it should adjust to the people who are actually using it. And I think like Ithaca initiative, it's good. Maybe other people on the African continent might also get inspired. So grassroots movement are really, really important. We cannot even foresee the impact that it has, but I would summarize it at, it has an inspiring aspect. It can also create like um, healthy form of competition, and also good for um, enabling opportunity for people who want to come to the market, sponsors who want to invest but they don't know how to enter. So we're enabling opportunity, and also those who want to play around the technology but are not able to travel to places due to visa restriction, financial restriction, etc. So it has multiple aspects of it. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Abena. So I have a question for both Bana, but I'll go with Ban first. That is, what key factors should entrepreneurs and founders focus on to ensure user empowerment within the Web3 startup? What should they focus on to ensure user empowerment? It might feel like we've had that discussion ongoing already with some of the things you shared, but then starting with you, what should they focus on to ensure user empowerment? So you've
Yeah.
mentioned education. So what other things can they focus on?
Okay. Okay. Sure. So, I mean, one thing with crypto is also Web3 is the ideology behind the Web3 ecosystem, the whole Web3 system, which is decentralization, transparency, and community. And all of these ideas are empowering in a way. Um, Compared to existing systems are great, but as a user, you have less control. So I believe that one thing that Web3 ecosystems can do, sorry, Web3 um,
Founders.
projects can do, founders can do to empower their users is to also draw the attention to some of these ideologies behind Web3, which is
Uh,
that community and transparency. Because, for example, there's today I just saw that this news here that in the state of California, they now have a vehicle registration on the blockchain, and they have already registered 42 million vehicles on the blockchain. So something like this is very empowering because now all the data is on the blockchain, and you then can now draw your users' attention to the fact that with this, maybe moving, transferring vehicle from yourself to another person can now just take a few minutes instead of maybe weeks or
the
months.
time.
And the
Okay.
same thing, like if you're a founder, maybe you're working on land registration, then you need to draw the users' attention of your potential customers to the fact that if this is successful, we could all have we could solve the issues where one king has sold land to 10 people and you don't know who the
Yes.
owner of the land is, and so on and so forth. So like founders should draw attention of their potential users or the users they already have to some of these Web3 ideologies. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ba. So transparency is very, very important in a way that users can be empowered. So coming to Abna, what do you think that entrepreneurs can do to empower users?
But it's interesting question, but let me think. It's like to empower users in using the product. Is this your question?
Yes, yes, to empower users.
I don't know. Like oh, what should I say? I mean, to empower. I think first of all, maybe it's like I have the tendency to say that started the market well and come up with a product that you cannot confirm 100% need, but like the high amount, like the people actually need it. Sometimes products are out there to solve a problem, which the problem, whereas the problem is not even there. Okay, creating solution for a problem, but the
Problem
problem does
that
not
does
even
not
exist. So it's like it's a little bit, it's like being like very visionary, but it's not like you don't really testing, like you're not really starting the market very well. So I would say that bring products which are actually needed at the moment, or like in the near future, and then make it, design it in a way that is accessible and use it. It's like you don't need to have a product like that you need to have a PhD in order to use it. Sometimes a product or
yes.
is very outmade. So
Simplicity.
it's
It
like
should be easy.
simply, yeah, simplicity and easy to use. And this is most often people forget, because simplicity is way more difficult than having something that's very buggy and complex. So study the market, what is actually needed there, bring something that is easy to use. By having something that is easy to use and accessible, you're empowering people. Make the barrier to use it very low and intuitive. That's the form of, I think that's the form of empowerment. And I think for me it's like make something empowering is show, you need to show, tell the story when people are using it, what kind of problem does it solve? It's
Perfect.
storytelling.
Yes. Yes.
What kind? Yeah, it always brings some to storytelling. It's like, hey, in case when you use this one, it makes your life more easier. It makes things more smoother. Like the smartphone, it
Relatable.
makes things, yeah. And people don't have a perceived usefulness, they will not use it. Why should you use a smartphone? What does it solve? What does it make it useful? I think that brings down usefulness,
Simplicity.
simplicity, and it's needed.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much, Abna, for your input. I mean, you've touched on very, very important points that especially founders coming up with solutions that actually have problem. Like they are solving something. It's not just like solution in existence on its own. And they need that whatever product they are bringing to the market should be simple and easy for the user to use. And that's how users will even get interested in using the product. But if they don't see how it benefits them, they wouldn't care. So thank you so much. We'll be wrapping up the session very soon and then take questions from the audience. I have two more questions for both of you and then we'll wrap it up. So my first question would be, how do you see decentralization impacting the traditional startup model in the context of Web3? How do you see it impacting the traditional model in the context of Web3? Please, who likes to go first? I mean, anyone can go first. Ba. Since Abina just spoke, let's start with Ba.
Yeah, this is a great question and a question that I would like to answer. So the
Great.
startup model basically, um, I mean, especially in African ecosystem, we try to follow the VC startup model. However, we don't have that infrastructure here. So then what it leads to is that we have a lot of people, doing a lot of unnecessary things to get attention of VCs overseas, there's this thing called e-begging, where we
Mm-hmm.
have the startups trying to, catch the attention of these VCs, um, doing a lot of things. But with crypto, this crypto brings in a new form of investment and startup model. Even for Web2 companies, then this is something I want to note that even for Web2 companies, you can raise money through crypto, right? So, for example, you can tokenize some of your shares, and then launch a token that represents a percentage of your shares, and have people, your community, buy those tokens. It's like a crowdfunding in a certain way, but on the blockchain. And for Web3 companies, this is something that we already do, right? So anytime a lot of Web3 companies, that's typical Web3 companies launch, what they do is they also launch with a token, and then they have maybe a private sale of the token, and that's a way to raise money. And with that private sale, anyone anywhere in the world can actually participate in the private sale if they believe in your project. So you don't need to go through the traditional VC model, which is heavily biased against African startups. You can just go through the Web3 model. Once you understand how to launch your tokens, how to do this and that, then it's so this is how one way that I think that blockchain is gonna
Impacting, yeah, the
impact this
traditional.
area. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, Abina, we'll take your input. How do you think it's impacting the traditional model in the context of Web3?
I think I really agree with everything Bakusi said. I would like to maybe add that it impacts that. I think as a user, if you want to have an impact, you have better tools than before. Before the tradition one, maybe you have to like it was more stiff, more linear. You have to follow the tradition. But as I said, decentralization comes with there's no script. For example, when I started Ithakra, I mean there's no script to or manual to how to
Follow.
run a hackathon to
Yes.
organize anything. It's decentralized, so you can whatever you can start up, come with your own idea, how you want to structure it, how you want to plan it, etc. And I think that really leverages it, opens up um, those who want to take accountability, ownership to participate. Engagement is rewarded. You can raise money outside of the traditional way. That really helps, and I think it shakens up the current system. I'm not saying that it's going to replace the current traditional system, but it's going to be like I would say for me it's like an extension. It's embedding the current system and the new system that can beautifully coexist, because not everybody has the heart or wants to be in this decentralized world, because it's very like it also right now where it's rather volatile. But I think those who want to take the ownership and challenges and accountability, there's space there to explore around. And I think that this might also shaken up the current system. It's like maybe we are moving towards a new era, and we can leverage or benefit from both. Like there might be synergies formed, and then I think it's overall it's enriching.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Definitely, it's impacting the traditional model, and it's giving founders and entrepreneurs more opportunities. Definitely. So, my final question before we take that's if any questions from the audience will be, what advice would you offer to entrepreneurs seeking to secure funding? Yes, let's talk about funding. What advice would you offer entrepreneurs seeking to secure funding, build strategic partnership, and differentiate their offerings in this competitive market? What advice would you offer to entrepreneurs and founders? Okay.
Oh,
Abby.
it's you need to be there for the long run, because there's no shortcut when when you want to be like build up this entrepreneur. It's like running a marathon. You need to be have this that hey, it's
Yes.
be there for the long term. Don't expect you need to make yourself visible. It's all about creating content, make yourself visible, and yes, I think when you keep creating content, being visible, creating value, then people will see what you're
See you.
doing, and then
Yes.
that will attract those where values are aligned. That will also attract funding. I mean, if you write one post and then expect, oh, nobody like have a strategy, but nobody's giving you money. I mean, it's like you need to earn it, and you need to earn it by creating value, by creating make yourself visible, and also producing something that why should people invest in you, why should people give money? I mean, you're not deserving anything. I think this is something. And also be having a being a humble person, because it's not about, nobody owes you anything. This is the first place you want something there. Be humble, build good relationship with people. It's people's business.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's people's business. Be good relationship, be there prepared for the long term, and then yes, and things will work out. And yeah, I think whatever you do is like never lose enthusiasm.
Yeah, very, very important. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thanks so much for that input. They have to definitely focus on value, and then putting themselves out there, providing value to attract the people, the right people, and be in it for the long run. No shortcuts. It
Yeah.
doesn't work that way at all. Thank you so much, Abina. So we'll take Ban's input.
Yeah, this is a great question because I think a couple of weeks ago, I think last week I made a tweet about this same subject, and I'll give it from the African perspective, especially, African founders who don't really have any connection with outside, you know, outside like the outside of the continent, like you don't have any maybe white founder, or like, yeah, you've been in Africa your whole life, just like myself, and you're a founder and you're trying to start a project. Um, because aside each other, I try to do one or two projects. And one of the things that I've realized is that, it's usually when people start to work on a project, immediately they start to seek for funding from outside protocols. Maybe they go to Ethereum Foundation or maybe some other protocol, and they want to get the funding from them.
Mhm.
And usually the expectation is most of the times, like 99.99% of the time, you don't get it, right?
Get
And for
it.
me, what I say about that is that the crypto community is a community-based capitalist system. So it's not a socialist system; it's a capitalist system. People are here to make profit. People are not here to just give money away
Yes.
for people to try to run something. So that means that whatever project you are working on, it has to be something that is designed to, make profit, and also to make profit for your community, because it will surprise you to know that a lot African crypto market is actually we actually have a lot of liquidity in term. I mean, there are a lot of people who actually put money in crypto in Africa. There are a lot. If we just look at P2P trading, even worldwide, Nigeria is like number two. Um, if you look at Africa top 10 P2P, we have Nigeria, Ghana, all of those countries are there. So Africa, we have put a lot of money into crypto. And you might think that maybe a lot of Africans don't know about crypto, but a lot of people actually do crypto. So one thing I'll say is that look to your community, try to create a project or try to create an incentive that will benefit your community, right? Or the people who rally behind you. So for example, one of the things that crypto project do is like airdrop. So like, you are going to launch a token and you have a project that is going to be behind that token. So at least allocate some for the airdrop for your community. You know, don't be selfish. Don't be like you only want to be the one doing that. And then also another thing is
Yes.
try to align yourself. Try to find people in the community who you can align yourself. You don't always try to look outside, but you actually look around you. Who can I work with from the start, and who can I start working with? Maybe you are looking for developers. There's actually a lot of developers around you that you can start working with, and that might be even willing to start working with you on the project and take some share of tokens that you're going to launch in the future. That means that you don't have to maybe spend on initially on development costs and all of that, right? So try to look for other ways, because it's not like very straightforward to get funding, especially as a complete African like that with no connections on the outside. You need to prove yourself like 10 times. So you actually need to build the project. You need to have users, and then we're asking you like all those questions we ask. Okay, how many users do you have? What are your daily active users? What all of these questions will be asked, right? But someone outside outside the continent can easily raise money with just an idea, right? You can get like seed funding, 2.5 million for seed funding and use like 1.8 million to buy a domain name or something like that. But you don't have that luxury. So look at what you can do first. And then once you do that, your funding opportunities will start to open to you, right? Because everybody loves profit. So try to work on a project that gives profit and then you take it from there.
Mm, mm. And I love your input so much. So founders, start from where you are. Entrepreneurs, start from where you are. Don't quickly like go outside, because when you go there, that's when the challenges starts, and then you can easily give up. Once you start from where you are, you can even get someone who can help you secure funding easily and partner with. So thank you so much, Abner and Van. I've enjoyed the session. Thank you for the insight shared. We do have some questions from our audience, and the first question is for Bankusi. So from Whitney Ennis, the person wants to know the platforms you mentioned. You remember you spoke about how Injera ensures security, and even if maybe there's a Web3 startup that doesn't have money or funding to have the high level security, you mentioned a platform or other ways they can ensure that even with the funding or money challenge. So if you
Sorry,
can
I
come
think.
again, yes, yes, please.
Oh, okay, we mean for the security platforms.
Yes, that yes.
Oh, okay, okay. So right now, the in the Web3 security space, the normal approach or the rising the approach that is becoming much more uh like like it's becoming the norm is auditing platforms. So
Yes.
competitive auditing platforms. So how do they work? The way they work is that you go there if you're, let's say, your protocol and like your project and you want to audit your smart contract. Initially, there were a few security firms that you have to contact, and sometimes some of them are working like $1,000 per hour, and they'll tell you that, okay, looking at the project, we need like 10 hours, so that's $10,000. You don't have $10,000.
Mm-mm.
If it's like it's not something that comes easily for everyone, right?
Yeah.
So for your project with very low budget, you can go on this competitive platform where you show them, okay, since um, blockchain space is like uh, open source. That means you can share your GitHub profile there. You create a profile for your company. Okay, this is the code, the smart contract we're going to launch, and this is how our project is supposed to work. This is what we have in mind. Then you list it over there. Then what happens is that it's a competitive audit platform, so you can put a bounty price on it. That okay, in total we only have maybe $1,000. If you have only $1,000, that's fine. If you find a bug or an issue, you get a part of this $1,000, right? And even though your money might be small, you still get people who will look at it, who will look at your project. Because sometimes there are also people who are now coming up who are looking for, like, they have a lot of time on their hands. And yeah, they can do something with that $1,000. So you look at your project and if he doesn't find anything, you are not charged. But if you find something and it's great, then they pay out. So with that $1,000, you can still get your code audited to a certain amount, a certain point that at least you can be sure that okay, this is fine for now. Maybe when we go deeper into production, we can and we are making profit, we can do much more serious audit. And so some of these platforms we have like one of the I'll just mention a few of them. We have like Code Foreigner, we have Immunify, and then one other one, Sherlock. So yeah, you can if so the person really needs them, I think they can get to me later. I can give them the actual links. But yeah, that's it.
Okay. Thank you so much, Brian. I hope that answers the person's question. So for the next question, this next question, any either Abna or Ban, you can take it, and it's from Jacqueline Adu, and says blockchain is the digitalization of trust and therefore has greater utility in spaces and societies that have less trust inbuilt in existing systems. Do you agree with this statement? And if yes, is that an indication that blockchain or Web3 might have more utility in Africa than in other societies? I'll take the question again. Blockchain is the digitalization of trust and therefore has greater utility in spaces and societies that have less trust inbuilt in existing systems. Do you agree with this statement? And if yes, is that an indication that blockchain or Web3 might have more utility in Africa and than other societies? You're muted.
I think yes, yes. I agree with the statement, and I think yes, it has greater utility where the current system failed in establishing trust as well as I think it's more than trust. It failed in having a system that is efficient and also transparent, because it's like we just want things to be run smoothly without because if things basic things facilitating of any transaction or execution, if this is ensured, then we can focus on other stuff. We don't have to waste our time on nitty gritty stuff, which should be, I think, basic needs. So I agree with the statement, and yes, I think it again it opens up opportunity or use cases which we could have not foreseen or envisioned.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. But do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, I do agree with the statement as well. It has more utility in Africa than any other continent in the world. Definitely, definitely, in terms of trust. One thing I'll point out is, in fact, like just a simple thing. If I want to send money to Nigeria right now, the easiest way that I can do it is by sending it through a blockchain transaction. I can't, it's not mobile money, it's not bank transfer. The easiest way is blockchain transaction. So with the current system we have in Africa, there's a lot of division, but blockchain transcends borders and breaks those barriers in division. So I believe that with higher adoption of blockchain, we are going to, see like a change of more collaboration between African countries as well. Because if now I can easily send money to one, last time someone was asking me, okay, do I know a way to send money to Zimbabwe? Uh, no, is it not Zimbabwe? He said, do I know a way to send money to another African country? And I was saying, yeah, maybe blockchain. And he asked me which country, and I said, he said Zambia. Yeah, and I was like, okay, maybe I don't know whether there's like the kind of blockchain adoption there. But if Zambia has a high blockchain adoption, then that my friend could have easily sent their money directly without any hassle, right? Yeah, so and with very low transaction fees, whilst we are waiting for um, the financial institutions, the traditional financial institutions, to finally come up with a way to do inter country transactions, blockchain has already solved that issue. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much for your input. Thank you to our wonderful speakers. So this discussion, we brought this discussion to an end. But before we leave, do you have any final words for founders and entrepreneurs of Web3 startups? Any final words to them to empower them to keep building innovative and sustainable startups? When you're ready, speak.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. So what I'll say is that, I mean, it's nice to like have a founder title or entrepreneurship title, but just want to say that it's not that easy and it's not that straightforward. So you have to be prepared to um, go the long term with this. Uh, yeah, just be prepared to go the long term and make sure that you understand the project you're working on. It's not like a cash grab or something like that. Blockchain is community based. So that means that when you start your project and you begin to you try to outsmart the community, eventually the community is going to ignore you, and your project will go to zero because it's backed. Everything in blockchain is backed by community. So make sure to maintain that trust.
Mm. Very important. Make sure to maintain that trust. Thank you so much, Ba. Abina.
Yeah, I think I agree with Bar said. It's not about, oh, I want to be a founder for the sake of being a founder. It's more about it's like what inspires you, what is your passion, and then see, okay, it does not exist, or like there's a need, and then maybe you can start, but not for the sake, like just create something that you can label yourself a founder, because what exactly are you aiming for? So it's like, again, remain humble, and if something already exists, why not join something that already exists and help scale this? As Bas said, it's a community driven initiative. It's not a standalone, and it's about people's business collaboration. And if something already is there, then join forces, make the pie bigger. That's by doing this, everybody's going to win in the long term.
Yeah, thank you so much. So with partnership, we are definitely all going to win in the long term. So before we go, there was actually two questions that I missed, and I want to ask it before we go. And the first one is, what is the misconception that you encounter often about Web3? The misconception, sorry, that is encountered about Web3. But would you take it? Oh, okay, Abina wants to go.
Um, I think the biggest misconception was that everything is scam out there, but it's scamming. But I don't think it's the biggest misconception. I think it comes from people don't understand it, and I think as human beings we tend to demonize things that we don't understand because it's easier. But I think
Mm-mm.
it's I think it's the biggest concept. It's not about, I don't think the technology is the problem. It's the people behind it. So, for example, if people causing car accident, are you banning cars? No, you are. You have to
No.
educate people to drive secure and drive responsible. It's not the car that is a problem. So I think it's,
Exactly.
yes, it's a misconception that I also had to encounter. I had to give a second thought and also be humble enough to learn to understand before having given an informed opinion.
Mm. Yeah, I'm glad, because that's where the education too comes in. Because Bar mentioned how that is a challenge in the Web3 landscape. So very important that people are educated so that they will have the right perception about Web3 and even understand it. Yes. So Ban, do you have a
Yeah.
take on this?
Yeah, one thing I'll add is that, the biggest misconception, I wouldn't call it biggest misconception, maybe biggest problem that a lot of people have is when they hear about something, they just start to criticize it head on without actually understanding how that thing works. So I'm yet to see someone who has maybe someone from this part in Africa who has really understands blockchain and is talking against it. Aside, okay, aside regulators, okay. But even with regulators, once they come to understand what blockchain is, they
It's
start to
true.
see that even for them, there's something between in for them, right? So
Yeah.
actually, I would say if someone is listening to this, if you have issues with blockchain, it's because you don't understand. Take your time to understand it before you actually give feedback on it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm. Thank you. So with the last question, so what is the criticality of Web3 in Africa? And do you have interesting use cases that you can share? The criticality of Web3 in Africa and any use cases you can share.
So, what do you mean by criticality? I don't really understand your question.
Uh,
Sorry.
the criticality of Web3. It's a question for, I'm thinking it has to do with um maybe the importance. I want to be sure reading from the audience mind. The importance of Web3, or how should I say useful it can be in Africa, and any use cases that can be shared. I hope I'm right.
Oh,
Yeah, so should I
I'm,
go?
I'm trying to confirm that.
yes, go. Yeah, go ahead. Go
Yes, you
ahead.
can
But
go. Yes.
Yeah, so like criticality, um, like how maybe trying to understand it, like how fast do we
Yes.
think we
That.
should adopt the
Mm-hmm,
thing, like
mm-hmm.
how urgent it is. And I'll say that,
It's yes.
as I said, like blockchain is a technology, and before blockchain, there was no technology like blockchain, that allowed you to have transparency, decentralization, and immutability in one, right? So this is something that uh, allows you to break certain barriers. So, for example, one simple example I like to give is the payment example. Like again, the easiest way to send money from Ghana to Nigeria right now is send the person blockchain. I think I had to send money to a friend of mine in Kenya, and the easiest way at that time they didn't know anything about blockchain, nothing. I said, okay, just download this app and I'll send you the. Of course, money was involved, so the person took the time to download the app and got their money within minutes, right? So it's very critical, one, for people, individuals to understand it, um, and especially for Africans to actually try to understand blockchain, because this is where we have the actual use case. It's not the actual use case of blockchain is not it's not outside Africa, it's not in the US, it's not in the Europe. They have great systems already. They have like transparent, at least the systems are transparent. You not go and see, maybe I don't think you go to America and someone will sell land to 10 people in America. That's not possible.
It's not happening.
So like um but in Africa, we have all these issues, and
Yes.
blockchain actually has the capability to solve it, to solve all of these issues. If we decide to adopt it, it's gonna benefit everyone, whether you're the government or you are an individual or someone. You just try to don't be afraid. Get close to blockchain and try to understand what exactly is this thing. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So it's very important for people to educate themselves about blockchain and not just like throw it away without understanding what it blockchain is all about. So thank you so much to Abna and Van. Thank you for giving and sharing insights on the topic how to build a viable Web3 startup. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this event, is an event created by Boxplay Ventures, an Accra-based SME and startup consultants and venture builder who are they are passionate about supporting entrepreneurs, just like this event that they've created, and building the entrepreneurial and innovative ecosystem in Ghana and Africa as a whole. And it's done in partnership with Eat Accra. And as Abina introduced herself, she's the founder of Eat Accra. So thank you so much. And then we will see you in our next episode. It's a wrap. So to our speakers, kindly leave your app open so that your video will fully upload. Yes.
Thank you. But I can close my video, right?
No. It has to be open because the clip is uploading.
I mean, I can close